What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the update of the former Miss Olympia, Brandon Curry, the most experienced guy in the men's open bodybuilding today, who made his Olympia debut back in 2011, the year he won his first ever Miss Olympia. Now you have got to give the credit to Brandon Curry for staying at the top of his game for that long, because if you do not count the past Miss Olympia, Brandon has never placed outside of the top 5 since 2018, and he should be really proud of his accomplishments. Not only did he win the Olympia title back in 2019, he also placed runner-up in 2020 and 2021, and he won 2 honors as well during these past few years. I mean, just look at the greats of the sport that Brandon Curry has competed against since 2011. Phil Heath, Jay Cutler, Dennis Wolf, Dexter Jackson, Branch Warren, and all of them have been retired for years now. And Brandon, I have got to say, is still doing extremely well. Now, most of us were really shocked to see how good Brandon's quads looked at this past Miss Olympia, especially considering how late this Olympia prep started for Brandon Curry. Now, if only Brandon was a bit more drier, a bit more conditioned, he could have placed a lot better than 9th. So this is certainly the tail end of his career. And with all these guys like Martin, Hunter, Andrew Jack, Nick Walker coming into their own, it will be super hard for Brandon to get back into that Olympia top 5. And maybe he should try doing more shows, just like William Bonac, and collect more money and more checks before it's time to hang up the posing trunks, before it's time to retire. And for those of you guys who do not know, Brandon will be turning 43 next year. Next up, we have an update from Vlad, who looks unbelievably big and wide. But this has always been the case with him. Now, if he did not deliver a phenomenal performance at this year's Chicago Pro, he placed a very close second behind Muhammad Fadha. He would have been accused of photoshopping this recent update, but the way he showed up for this year's Chicago Pro, that was as good as it gets, because that was his best combination of size and grainy conditioning. Now, Fadha had an edge over Vlad because of his superior shape and his aesthetics and his overall flow. But still, Vlad was just way better than Muhammad Fadha from the back. Now he kind of overdieted for Tampa Pro this year, which was his second show of the year, and also his last show of the year. And just because Vlad doesn't have a small waistline, he cannot afford to lose even a bit of roundness and fullness, especially on his quads. Because if that happens, he starts to look like a boxy bodybuilder. Now he stayed in shape for the shows that were lined up close to the Olympia this year, like Europa Pro and France. But he just did not get the visa to compete at these shows. So the biggest question when it comes to Vlad is that, how does he stay so big and so lean and so ripped all year round? And this has been the story for so many years now. Now he plans to attack this upcoming season with a very strong determination to qualify for the Olympia next year. And I believe 2025 is gonna be the year Vlad is gonna be back on that Miss Olympia stage. But do let me know what you guys think. This is a perfect reply from Samson Dauda to every competitor out there, including the Persian wolf, Hadi Choopan, who questioned the judge's decision for placing him second behind Samson Dauda 8 weeks ago at the Olympia this year. Now, every judge on that panel agreed that Samson Dauda wasn't the most ripped guy on that stage. He wasn't the most conditioned guy. Hadi's overall conditioning, that was still better than Samson Dauda. But there are other things that come into play, especially when you are going up against a guy, an athlete, who has that kind of height, that kind of size, and more specifically that kind of aesthetics. Because Samson Dauda has the combination of all these things. Now Samson brought up his weak points, including his back. Plus, the one missing link that has always been the biggest issue with Samson Dauda was his conditioning, and he was able to fix that as well at the Olympia this year. Because everyone kept on saying that all Samson Dauda needs to do is to close that conditioning gap, and he was able to do that. And that is why the judges picked him, a bigger, more aesthetic guy, over Hadi Choopan, who wasn't as big or as aesthetic as Samson. So after this banter, you wish as a bodybuilding fan that Hadi was doing this upcoming Arnold, so that we could witness another great battle. But I guess we will have to wait another year to see these guys go up against each other again. Now Samson is crushing his daily workouts, and we are now less than 12 weeks out of this upcoming Arnold. And Samson, I have got to say, is gonna be just so damn hard to beat. Every single time Stephan or his coach Patrick, they post a physique update on the road to his men's open bodybuilding debut, it gets more exciting because he was meant to be competing in the men's open class, and that is based on his every off-season physique update from the last couple of years when he was trying to make his classic physique weight cutoff. Now we would be lying if we said that he did not waste at least 1 year of his potential growth by staying in classic physique. But I am glad that he eventually came to this decision of moving over to the men's open bodybuilding for good. And now we have another formidable competitor who is looking at his men's open debut sometime next year. And this debut is most probably gonna be one of the most anticipated one next year. And it is so crazy to see that the area in which Stephan has been making the most progress since his coach upped the foot, that is his back, which was basically the one weakness that Stephan had as a classic physique competitor. So the weight really is irrelevant for some athletes who are as gifted as Stephan. I mean, just take a look at guys like Tony Burton and Justin Shire, who won their men's open shows with their weight being below 220 pounds. So let's give Stephan a full off season, and judging by the pace at which he is making such amazing progress, I am very sure he will be making some noise in 2025. Next up, we have the physique update from Juan, who is really hyped up to see the official schedule of this upcoming 2025 season, because Juan is gonna be stepping back on the stage after a gap of more than 2 years. And you better believe that Juan has put on so much muscle and he has grown so much in these past couple of years. So competing at the M Pro Classic Spain last year against guys like Michael Crizo and Andrea Presti, that was him just testing the waters. And Juan only did that one show after turning pro, and he immediately went back to the drawing board. He went back into a very long off season. So Juan has been looking so massive in all of these last few updates. His quad sweep in particular is looking mind-blowing, and that has allowed Juan to have more of an X-frame, to have more of a V-taper, and having a smaller waistline on the stage. So with a really long break from competing, he will definitely be looking forward to competing in summer in this upcoming year, and he will be aiming to get his first pro win and get to the Olympia stage for the very first time. So I'm not really sure who he is currently working with as his coach, because he has done the off-season part very successfully, and he just cannot expect to win a show in 2025 if he brings that same condition that he did back in 2023. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.